Hi everyone. It's difficult to know where to start. Okay, so I've owned a Plus 4. I owned a Plus 4 and an M62, which was the limited edition version of the Plus 4. It was a homage. It was yeah, to the 1962 winning Plus 4. And yeah, if you do a bit of a Google search, you can find that car and everything else. And it's great, incredibly traditional looking, pretty much what you'd expect a British historic sports car to look like, which of course Morgan's, you know, that is a Morgan. It's barely changed. It might as well be a 911, how little it's changed over the years. In fact, it's changed even less than that. But I had a Plus 4. I've now moved on. I've decided I don't want that anymore. That's gone. It's gone. I'll come on to the whys and wherefores of that on a different video, but on this one I wanted to go through the specking of my Plus 6. Now, I wasn't going to do this. It's only because someone I follow on Instagram, so Dale's Plus 4, so I recommend you go and have a look and see what he's doing. He's prolific in his posts around the use of his Plus 4, and it pretty much uses a daily driver. If you want to see someone's experience of their daily drive, I mean, he is in love with his Morgan, so don't expect it not to be biased, and I can absolutely understand why. Anyway, he asked me the question, what are you getting next? Because I hinted that I wasn't with my Plus 4 anymore, and he asked whether I was going Super 3 or Plus 6, and the answer was a Plus 6. Anyway, he said, what's the configuration? What's it going to be like? So here we go. I'm going to run through relatively quickly the configuration of my Plus 6. And I also want to take you through a bit of the Morgan website experience. So first and foremost, if you're going to be speccing your Morgan, do not pick up your iPad. Don't pick up your iPad, and don't pick up your iPhone, because it's not going to work. Morgan haven't sorted out with Apple. They either don't like the Apple costs for putting a configurator on there, or don't want to pay it, don't see the benefit. Anyway, not absolutely certain, but as long as you've got Google Chrome and you're on a MacBook or a PC, Android, you'll be absolutely fine. And that's what we're on now. So the in page for the Plus 6. Look, take it certain. So we've got this absolutely gorgeous Plus 6, and yeah, the marketing department and this took the car to the south of France, and yeah, and it's simply, it's lovely. They're not quite giving it the welly that I think it should be given. If you look at any of the reviews of the Plus 6 model since 2020, up to this most recent 2023 change, everybody goes on about hooning it around and how responsive and fast it is, and I think that's something really should be reflected through Morgan. We know it's a beautiful traditional looking car, but it would be good to see it thrashing around a little bit more. Anyway, so we can move on from this. You look at the stills of it, there's a good understanding why you might pick a Plus 6. That's pretty. That is pretty, and this is done off the standard spec. So all of these things are or were available at the time just under a standard specification. So just a change in metallic paint. Everything there is, yeah, it's just, I say standard specification. It's not standard. There is no standard specification in a Morgan. Honestly, everything can be changed up in a world now where cars are such that you can almost buy a pack. So we're in the process of buying a Polestar for someone within the company, and when you look at that Polestar, you can get you get all the different motors, so single, long range, dual long range, but the other specs are pretty straightforward. You just got these 3 different packs you can add to it, and you either add them or you don't, and then after that I think it's just a wheel change. Whereas with the likes of Morgan, obviously you can get into really fine detail about what you do and how you spec it in the same way as you can with the Porsche, but not quite so scary, I suppose, as the Porsche. The Porsche just goes on forever. Almost as you're speccing it, you're more worried about missing something as opposed to adding something that you want. So here we go. So if you get onto the Morgan website and go for the +6, you scroll through and you get a bit of an understanding of the +6, which I'm not going to go through all of this. I argue about them showing these more traditional colours because, do you know what, we've all seen the traditional, and there's some added extras since the 2020 model. We've got better audio with the Sennheiser audio. The Bluetooth audio was appalling. We've now got stability control, which I wasn't fussed one way or another. A new dashboard. I mean, there's nothing particularly exciting about that, and some two-tone fabrics which look really nice. Not anything that I've spec'd because of where we are in the year, but yeah, they're lovely. And then we've got some extra center console type veneers. Oh, and a really nice lock now. Lock? No, it's just a door opening. The old one was the same as I had in my Mini Metro. Yeah, back when I passed my test, so that would have been what, 1980, I want 87 or 88, 87 or early 88. And the gearbox being recalibrated, which is interesting, and the reason why they've had to do that is the gearbox comes straight out of a BMW, and the issue they're having before with the full auto is that the car's so light compared to the BMW that the auto box it works off of essentially the torque against the gearbox, it's constantly jumping around because the car's so light, so it's never too sure what gear to be in when you're in full auto. So it was always having to be flappy paddle. I'm quite happy about that, but some people want full auto. You just want to be able to sit back and poodle around, and they probably would have found at lower speeds it was just, not that you would be jumping around like that, but it would just be trying to find the gear the whole time, so it would be down and up, down and up. Now I'm going to move on from this. So when we look at where is the button for configurating? Oh, here we go. So we've got our start configuration up here, but they give you some lifestyle type choices. Look, so you've got your Nordic and your Riviera. I don't know. I mean, these things it always worries me greatly when someone is suggesting that the spec here is what an urban spec should be. I mean, really, with all of these things, if you have no imagination, then I can understand why you might look at the other stuff. But do you know what? Just get into the configurator and start having a play yourselves. So moving in and moving on. Oh, the site can't be reached. Well, there we go. Let's try doing this again. Morgan is having some issues with their configurator. Hey, here we go. Okay, so we're working now. So agree and continue on that. So here we go. Specking out your +6. So create original +6. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly run through and give you my spec, rather than messing around and giving you loads of different options of what you could do, because you can do that for yourself. So if you look at the moment, paint specs are free, any colour you like. Before that, I was going to go sports black and make it matte and mess around that way to get it so it looks quite sporty and aggressive. But as soon as they said that your colours were free, jumped onto the metallic, took it up to a really bright purple, and then from there turn the tone right down. So we're sticking a load of black in there as well. So to give you an idea of what that is going to be like, this is actually a sample, and I will I'm going to show you this sample in different lights, because right now, as you can see, that looks pretty dark, almost black. Oh, look, see the clouds. Yeah, I'm going to show you that in some sunlight in a second, and you get an understanding of what the colour looks like in the different lights. I promise you, bloody good. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. Right, so back to the configurator. So it's a single colour, leaving it in gloss. I've got metallic, and that is what I'm actually going to be matching to is the, hang on, I'll tell you the exact name of it. Yeah, it's the Porsche Amethyst. Porsche Amethyst is the colour that we are going with. So from there, then looked at the wheels. So different specs of wheels. I particularly like these black dish wheels. The other option, I suppose, is the open spoked. But one of the things with the open spoked is these gaps around the bottom, and I'm worried that that is going to look too open and make it look a little bit feeble, and I wanted something a bit more punchy. And Morgan have just stopped doing these black wheels because Morgan is Morgan. I'm getting the silver wheels, and they will be spraying them in a matte black, well, not quite a matte black, but a satin black for me, which is great. So, and then on to the interior textiles. So these are the new textiles they've launched, which are lovely, but right now at the moment it doesn't matter what you do with your colour and your leathers, it is all within the original cost. So with this purple I've gone for the rich tan and the soft grain leather because it just feels gorgeous. Seats themselves, immediately gone heated seats, obviously, has to be done, and Comfort Plus. As for stitching, do you know what? I'm really not interested in these other two. I quite like the straightforward stripes. The seat back, I can't remember what I spec'd now, whether I left it as the black composite or whether I made it body coloured or leather. I'm hoping I spec'd it as leather, but you know what? I'm not worried any which way as to what that ends up being. As for embroidery on the seat, again, I haven't bothered. It's not something I'm particularly interested in. Now on this spec, I've left the piping, which you can see changing colour here on the edges of the seats. I've left the piping in the match colour, so it's staying exactly the same as the existing leather. But what I am doing with the stitching is I'm throwing a bit of slate grey in there because I just think the contrast's nice. The white's a bit much. Light grey, I think we'll end up looking like slate grey anyway, so might as well start there. And carpet. So again, prices are standard across all your different carpets. So the box weave is much nicer than the standard weave carpet, much chunkier, and I've gone for the anthracite. And the reason I've done that is I lived with the black on the +4, and it gets really dark down here. So moving on to the cockpit. So this is new, the aluminium dashboard here. That's very nice, and in one of my earlier specifications I hadn't changed that away from the aluminium because actually I got the aluminium to tie in with the silver as well, and I had a silver hardtop roof that I was using on that particular incarnation, and that stayed as it was. But on this one it's going to go body coloured because the centre console here will be changing. The dashboard lower rail will remain in this raven ash, which essentially is just black. You can change it for all the other different wood effects, but purposes of this spec, yeah, it needs to stay in the black. Centre console. So centre console body coloured. Do you know what? That would be great for it to be body coloured, but I know full well before I had the wood, and it was really nice, almost warm to the touch, quite tactile, and it didn't mark. Whereas my worry is that if I have it in a body colour or it's painted, is that I will end up scratching it with something. I'll have something on my sleeve which will end up scratching it, and it will annoy me forevermore after that. So I'm actually going to go leather and get it to match in with the centre section around the gear lever. So this whole cockpit of the car is tied in that way. Steering wheel's going black. It's a gloss black, and the reason why I'm doing that is ties with the back, the bottom rail, and because the body colour changes so much, there are times when the two will look pretty similar. As for the leather details, which is just the handle, I think. I don't think there's leather details anywhere else. And that is going into the tan colour. As for convenience, if you don't put air conditioning on your car, you're foolish. I'm going to definitely be going with the Sennheiser audio. Look, it's not worth £3,000, but you can't have the car without it. And in all honesty, the other audio at £400, yeah, you could do that. It's fine at low speeds, and if you're listening to something which doesn't require any finesse in terms of the music. so it might be enough for you, but for me it's definitely Sennheiser. And then got this little pocket you can have added onto the passenger side, but you've now got a glove box, so I didn't bother with the little pocket. If it's just me in the car, I won't put my phone in the little pocket. I'll probably sat on the seat next to me if nowhere else. Exterior textiles. Well, I'm not going to even bother going through all of this because I don't think the hood's ever going to be on my car. Probably the hard top, and if hood is on, then it's going to be down. So I've left mine in black. Wing beading, yeah, no, I haven't bothered with that. Essentially, that's filler on your car, so I want that as indiscreet as possible. Final finishes: black cowl, black mesh grille, no numbers, just no numbers. Hard top. Hard top for me is a big yes. I'm not a great one for open top driving, and I want to use the car more often, so I've gone with, I don't want screwing through the solids, I'm going through to metallic silver, and then that will be matte. Looks very white on here. It's not though, it is a lot more aluminium looking, so this is what it looks like, the matte silver. Anyway, onwards. Badges, I'm not bothering with any badges. I suppose if I was, it would be the black and white Union flag. No, I'm not worrying about those things, but I understand why people do. The packs, I'm not bothering with either of the black packs. It's just for different surrounds. Some people will do, but the spec of my car, it doesn't work in that way. But I have gone with the clear finishes on the lights. Now, if I'd gone with my original spec, which would have had the opie orange roof, at that point, I would have had the standard coloured lights because they would have tied in the roof, but I'm not. So we're going to go like that. So it's all very singular in terms of its colour. Graphics, I'm not a great one for adding graphics to cars, although my last one had it, so I'm not going to be adding anything to this for the time being. But if I were, I suppose I'd probably go clear and a rounder on the side. But you can do all sorts of things. You can have wraps over the bonnet if you want, but they're not for me. Let's just get rid of that. And call signs, you can name yourself on the back. You can have your names in here if you so wish. Don't. Accessories, I recommend a side screen storage bag. Getting one of those. Covers, I'm not sure if these are available at the moment, because when I tried to buy them before for my Plus 4 they weren't about, but if your Morgan is going to be sitting outside, then you need to get a cover, and if it's indoors and you're not using it very often, yeah, keep it dust free if you want to. Yeah, mine's in a heated garage, doesn't have a cover over it because it comes out to play far too often for that. And then we get to some other extras. So we've got spotlights. They've got these big, angry ones as well. Look. Originally, not doing them anymore. So these are the only ones that are going to be spec'd. They are now body painted around the back of the light, which they weren't before. I'm not borrowing with a battery conditioner, although I will get a trickle charger. And of course, the sports exhausts. Yeah, and silver are a must. Yeah, needs to be done. And that's it. Quick and easy. That is my Plus 4. My Plus 6. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Keep watching, because come the 25th of September, that bad boy should be built, and then shortly after that, yeah, I'll be picking up from the factory. Yeah. Pretty bloody excited. Actually, before I go, a summary. Look, Morgan, sort it out. At this point in the summary, you should be looking at a beautiful car. Not only that, it doesn't always pick up everything that's in here as well. So, yeah, once you've spec'd up, make sure you run through everything with someone at Morgan, and don't just allow on the configurator, which is quite damning for the configurator, I suppose. But there you go. sweet. Look at that. Lovely. So finish off with giving you a little bit of a blast of the colourway. So this is it. Look at that. Yeah, it's pretty, very pretty. And of course, depending on how sunny it is, depends on what this looks like. And it goes from anything from black to this superb purple. Yeah, love it. Can't wait to see it in the flesh.